Day 2 in our series, Can We Talk? Rhona Berens, a PhD and parent advocate, explains you can reconnect via conflict. Really, it's possible.
After the birth of the first baby, our conflicts rise exponentially. Exponentially. What are called perpetual issues, meaning, those arguments you have with your husband over and over again, and they never go away. And here's the thing, 70% of our issues don't ever go away. They don't ever go away.
Scary.
Yes, completely frightening. So I will say sometimes I'm appalled by reading this research because I think, I don't want to know all this information. This is awful, right? But it's true. So 7 out of 10 of our issues, the ones that we're arguing about over and over again, are issues forever. But after we have our first baby, and it gets worse after subsequent kids, those entrenched issues become points of conflict in a much more intense way. So, 9 out of 10 couples after they have their first baby report a drop in relationship happiness for the first 1 to 3 years. If you have your second baby within that 1 to 3 year period, which, many of us do, yes, many of us do, okay, we've now added more stressors into our relationship. So there are more factors. Now, it doesn't happen with every couple. Some couples stay completely connected through that and beyond that. But for those of us who get pulled apart during that period, it's hard then to reconnect, because very often what pulled us apart, we haven't changed the way in which we do conflict. We haven't necessarily resolved those issues that, were major issues between us. They're just sort of floating with us. And so that intervenes as well. So, part of it is also learning ways to really, it's sort of a cliche to accept that we're different, but it's one of those cliches that's a cliche for a really good reason. And very often in relationships, part of what keeps us pulled apart is that we try to prove to our spouse that we're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of us actually know we are right. I mean, some of us really, the issue is that we are right, and it's like, if only she would just really believe us, right? Okay. But the truth is, okay, so I will admit I fall into that category, but I also understand it's not that, because here's the thing, we're both trying to argue that we're right. And in truth, in relationships, we are both right. Partially. Everyone's right. The goal to connect, the goal to have positive communication with each other isn't then to prove that we're right, it's to actually understand each other. And to understand each other, we have to get curious. And curiosity, quite honestly, it doesn't have to take an hour or 3 hours or 3 weeks. It can take a few seconds. We just have to be genuine about it. And for me, one of the most powerful tools, in addition to the 10% rule, is to ask really powerful questions of each other and be genuinely curious about the answers, even if the answers suggest our spouse doesn't agree with us. So one of my favorite powerful questions, what's important to you about that? What's important to you about that? Because let's say we're disagreeing and I've got my idea of what's important to me about what I'm saying. I don't think what you're saying is important, but oh wait, maybe it's important to you. So tell me what's important to you about that. And amazingly enough, if we can ask those questions, that's another way to connect, even if we disagree.